Hello, everyone. This is Paulette, and I'd like to thank you again for joining in on our YouTube podcast, Women Who Rock. Let's talk about it. Thank you so much. I appreciate so many of you who have joined in. Our aim and our goal is to share conversations with women and from women who have a story to tell. They have a voice to be heard and a story to tell. And we want you to be able to just tap into any one of these episodes that we are sharing with you, and we hope that they'll be a blessing to you. On today, we have a very special guest. We're going to be shedding light on October Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we want to just bring in individuals who have unfortunately gone through tragic situations of being caught up in domestic violence. And we're going to listen to their story and their journey of the impact of that, how they were able to um, come come through it, and their journey to healing. We are so excited about having our first guest on today, and we're going to introduce to you Beth Lynch. She is a phenomenal woman, and I've read her book. She has authored. The title of her book is called "Turning My Shame into Praise," and we encourage you to go on Amazon and to
Yes.
purchase that book. I read it from cover to cover. I was just so intrigued at what she had to say in her story. So we're going to let her share in her experience that she has had and what brought her to this point of writing her book, From Shame to, you can help me out here, Miss Beth. And
He turned my shame into praise.
He turned my shame into praise. So, Miss Beth, we're going to let you have center stage here. We just want you to start off by telling us a little bit more about yourself and tell
Okay.
us some of the programs that you have been started, that you are involved in. So, the stage is yours, Miss Beth. And thank
Okay.
you so much for being a part of our podcast.
Thank you, Minister Paulette, for asking me to come on. A little bit about myself. I grew up in a small town in Missouri. I'm the oldest of six. I once was married and divorced, and I left because of domestic violence. And my son is grown. He's married and has four children. He is very successful. And I ended up later in life getting my college degree, and my degree is in bachelor's in human services. So I worked in a battered woman shelter too. That helped me to become a case manager. I work with women. What I did is I taught a class on self-esteem. It was the book that I used was called Approval Addiction. And usually in domestic violence, you don't have a self-esteem. You don't even know what your favorite color is. You don't know what you don't know what your favorite flower is. So sometimes in this class, we go around the room and I would ask those questions, and you'd be surprised at, because they didn't know, because their self-esteem was gone by then. Because anytime
Yes.
that you're in a relationship with someone who is abusive, your self-esteem's here, but when they start cutting you down, it could drop here. They say another word, intimidation, all the way to where you have zero
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem. And I would have 19 to 30 women in a week attending this
Oh,
class, and
wow.
it
Yes.
was, yes, and it was number one rated at that time. And also, while working there, I got permission to do a Princess Day project, and I think the last one that we did like a prom, because a lot of the ladies never had a prom. We had someone to donate prom dresses. We were able to like do a small banquet for them. They got to
Mhm.
dress up. We had somebody to do a updo. We had chair massages. We did photo shoots. And one of our ladies, it was the last time because she had passed on, and they took that photo and used it for her memorial. And
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, and that was the best, photo that she had,
Yes.
at that
Yes.
time. And they really enjoyed themselves. And we would always talk about building up the self-esteem, because a lot of times people, they'll emotional eat because they don't know how to handle something.
Mm-hmm.
They'll use drugs or alcohol, anything to cope. And
Yes.
and people don't realize that.
Yeah. Well, Miss Beth, I kind of want you to, again, as you're sharing such good
Hmm.
information with us and telling us more about yourself, I'm
Hmm.
going to ask a couple of questions here, Beth, to kind
Okay.
of help us also to continue in the flow. I know this is so important to women, especially who have gone through what you have gone through, to
Hmm.
hear your story again. Each one of them has a story to tell, but this is your platform to retell your story. And I
Okay.
want to ask you, um, what I can only imagine what drives you to do
Hmm.
the kind of work that you do as far as helping other women to get their life back, to
Hmm.
regain their self-esteem. Can you tell us a little bit about um, the emotional trauma that individuals go through that have experienced the type of domestic violence that you yourself have gone through? The first breakdown of that emotional journey that women go through. And then, Beth, I want to ask you about the warning signs that women need to take heed to. And then as we progress on, Miss Beth, I want you to open up and tell us your story. So can you
Okay.
just tell us again the emotional impact that it has on women who have gone through?
Um, I can share the part from where I came from emotionally. When you hear words like "you'll never amount to anything," or "I'll write the book before you will," "you can't sing, so sing this octave, sing that octave." Things, people in emotional abuse, they're just torn. They're told they're not worth anything. They have no value. They have no worth. And that's the one thing I want to do, is empower women and even men, that, because abuse is all across the board. Know your worth, know your value, because if you don't know who you are or whose you are, you will let anyone drag you off.
Right,
And I
right.
learned that a long, long time ago. And with emotional abuse, it's also mental is in there. Like I said, the name calling, the berating, the threats that go along with it, the intimidation, the look, anything, because you become frozen.
Uh-huh.
If they give you this look, you don't want to move because you're afraid if you do, they're going to physically harm you. They're going to chase you down, things like that. Because emotionally, that it hits your mind. It starts with your mindset, because that's where they begin to tear you down, is in your mind, to where
Yeah,
you don't even believe who you are anymore, because of
yeah.
the mindset and the control, because
Mhm.
and manipulation, because there's just a lot involved when it comes to domestic violence.
Yes, yes. Miss Beth, can you also tell us um, what kind of warning signs? I've been looking and researching, and of
Mhm.
course, everyone says the same pattern and the
Mhm.
same type of warning signs that just throws off red flags. So, can you share with us the warning signs that individuals need to know? And like you were saying, it's not just women, but 1 out of 3 women or
Mhm.
being abused, even right now as we make this interview,
Correct.
as we do this interview. And 1 out of 7 men, I'm told, also experienced that kind of domestic violence or abuse. So, can you tell us at the very onset, what are the warning signs that we need to pay attention to before getting into these toxic relationships and as it deteriorates into violent
Um,
behavior?
One of them could be jealousy. They don't want you hanging around your friends, or they try to steer you away from your friends or your family. They'll isolate you. They may take you to another city even, and tell you you cannot go back home. You cannot even go there for a vacation. They get angry over nothing.
Mhm.
You don't have to do anything. They get angry, or they make a threat of violence. I'm gonna get a knife, or they just get real angry, or they will threaten suicide. They will try those tactics,
Mhm.
and that's common. And there's other things. I'll take your children. You can't have the kids, or like if they don't have money, they cannot leave and leave
Mhm,
with their kids. Or if
mhm,
they have an animal, some people may not have children, but they may have an animal and they don't want to part from their animal because that's been their protector.
mhm,
That
mhm.
those types of things.
Yes. And I'm also, and I'm sure you can speak more to this as well, that a lot, and just as you were saying, a lot of intimidation on the
Mhm.
onset of having, meeting this person, beginning to form a relationship. What are some of the red signs or red flags that come up? Even at the very beginning, I'm told that, sometimes they can be overly
Mhm.
affectionate or wanting to get into the relationship so fast, and so
Mhm.
I know you can speak more to that as far
Right.
as really um, tuning in, helping us to tune in more to even more red flags.
Yes, sometimes they'll take you to a nice dinner, they'll bring you flowers, they may even compliment you. And sometimes that can be a form of grooming and people don't realize that.
Mhm. I've heard
Um,
that word.
yes, and that's where they groom, I do this for you, now you're going to do this for me. And it may be a sexual favor. It may be, and this happens a lot with young people too, predators, perpetrating on people.
Mhm.
And they could be nice and charming, but sometimes people don't know it until they do get married or, later on. And then after that, they turn into a different person. There's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, where they're nice one minute and then they're very mean the next. They go back to, and it goes back with like the honeymoon phase and the
Mhm.
crisis and the tension building. And the example that I can give is I remember, and I'll share that in a little bit, but where, everything's going smooth. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't take anything for someone to get mad. And then they explode. And then they go back down to being that nice person. And it just is a vicious
Mhm.
cycle.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. Yes, yes.